The room was filled with a subtle hormonal atmosphere. Elijah leaned against the headboard, lighting a cigarette. Willow, her face flushed, stretched lazily, nestling in Elijah's arms. Her long legs draped over Elijah's body, and she casually pulled a blanket over her chest. Willow had always been self-conscious about her 75A bust, despite her slender and tall figure. Even in moments of intimacy, she instinctively protected her chest. Tilting her head back, Willow reached for the cigarette from Elijah's mouth, taking a deep drag and coughing suddenly. Elijah took the cigarette back, extinguishing it in the bedside ashtray, then turned toward Willow, pressing against her. Willow, using her hand as a barrier, told him to stop, mentioning that she was bothered. Elijah teased her, asking what was bothering her and if he hadn't taken care of her properly just now. Willow suddenly sat up, staring at Elijah, gritting her teeth, and said, "He actually hit me, that scumbag Liam actually hit me." Elijah was momentarily stunned, saying, "A gentleman uses words, not fists. A real man doesn't fight with a woman. How could he lay hands on you? That bastard, I wish I could tear him apart." With that, he punched the headboard, making a loud noise that startled Willow. Elijah casually pulled Willow into his arms, saying, "Sis, should I find some buddies to teach him a lesson, let you vent your frustration?" Willow gave Elijah a disdainful look and said, "At this critical moment, don't cause trouble for me." Elijah asked, "Why would he be willing to lay hands on you?" As Elijah questioned, Willow recalled the events from the morning before yesterday, and tears welled up in her eyes. Elijah handed her a tissue, gently wiping away her tears, and held her tightly, patting her shoulder, saying, "It's okay, it's okay. If you want to cry, just cry. It'll feel better after letting it out." Willow buried her head in Elijah's chest, crying softly. Liam is Willow's husband. The war between Willow and him began with 2 cats. Levi, the elderly man living downstairs in Willow's building, owned 2 male cats. Currently in the mating season, the 2 cats took turns yowling every night, creating a noisy and eerie sound, similar to the desperate cries of a child. Willow, who already suffered from insomnia and nervous exhaustion, was tortured by the mating calls of the 2 cats downstairs. She had once knocked on Levi's door, tactfully suggesting that he should prevent the cat noises from disturbing the neighbors. Unexpectedly, the eccentric Levi, upon hearing Willow's complaint about his cats, slammed the door shut without saying a word, leaving Willow outside. On this clear morning, after being tormented by the cat sounds all night, Willow was agitated. She banged on Liam's door, demanding that he immediately go downstairs to confront Levi about the cat issue. Liam, still half asleep on a Sunday morning, mumbled about the insignificance of the matter and the inappropriateness of knocking on someone's door so early. Willow exploded at his response, launching a rapid-fire barrage of words at Liam, accusing him of never caring about her problems. She emphasized how insignificant her issues were to him, how she couldn't sleep the entire night, and questioned when he had ever concerned himself with her well-being. She mocked him, saying that men have 3 joys: promotion, wealth, and the death of their wives. Liam had achieved the first 2, all that was left was her death. So, she declared, she would die for him today. As Willow spoke, she moved towards the window as if to jump, prompting Liam to scold her as crazy. He forcefully pulled her away from the window and, in the process, pushed her, causing Willow to stumble and fall to the ground. Liam had unwittingly stirred up a hornet's nest. Willow, while cursing at him, got up and, with determination, grabbed Liam's collar. She tried to scratch his face, but Liam blocked with his arm. Unable to reach his face, Willow resorted to tearing at his collar. With a sharp rip, Liam's shirt split open, and several buttons scattered. Liam, looking at the torn collar, angrily shoved Willow away. Through gritted teeth, he muttered, "Take care of yourself," as Willow, as if indifferent to everything, walked away, not even bothering to change the damaged shirt. Liam's ceasefire left Willow without any sense of victory. Instead, she felt an ignored humiliation, a resentment that hit a cotton-padded wall. She loudly cursed at Liam, "Damn you, Liam. If you have the guts, let's get a divorce right now." Her curses were drowned out by the slamming of Liam's door. Willow had never cried in front of Liam, she always presented a tough, ready-to-fight image. However, in front of Elijah, she transformed into a fragile figure. Leaning against Elijah's chest, tears streaming down, she said, "I've been married to him for so many years, and I've worried about every little thing at home. He acts like a carefree boss, neglecting the children, ignoring household chores, always absorbed in work. Home is just his hotel. After finally attending a parent-teacher meeting, he forgets which grade our child is in. I've been suffering from nervous exhaustion for over a year, with medications constantly at hand. He's never asked me once. When I asked him to go downstairs and talk about the cat issue, he found it troublesome. Wiping away her tears, Willow continued, he used to call when he was away on a business trip or socializing. Now, since that fight we had, he hasn't come home for 2 days. His phone is off, and I don't even know where he is. I can't go on like this. Elijah comforted her, sis, no matter what, he shouldn't have laid hands on you. But, in married life, after a fight, there might be a reconciliation. Maybe he just went out to cool off and will be back in a couple of days. Don't get too anxious and upset, it's not good for your health. If you're too hasty, it'll be your own body that suffers. Elijah lifted Willow's face and covered her mouth with his, but Willow turned away, muttering, not in the mood. For the first time in Elijah's presence, Willow felt a sense of dullness, and her body ceased its protests. On the 4th day of Liam's absence from home, Willow called her father-in-law. Willow's mother-in-law passed away when Liam was 5 years old, leaving her father-in-law to raise Liam on his own. It was said that her father-in-law had a close relationship with a female village doctor, whose husband had also passed away at a young age. In the earlier years, the doctor worried that remarrying would be unfair to her 2 children and steadfastly refused to remarry. As the children grew older, they strongly opposed their mother's remarriage. Willow's father-in-law and the female doctor unintentionally found solace in each other and remained single throughout their lives. Juggling both parental roles, her father-in-law nurtured Liam into a college graduate. Now, at less than 40 years old, Liam held a high-ranking position in a securities company, enjoying a high salary as a rewarding repayment for his father's years of hard work. Her father-in-law, a village teacher, was sensible and unintrusive, earning Willow's deep respect. Willow, despite the quarrels with Liam over the years, maintained a courteous attitude, warmly welcoming relatives who visited their hometown and regularly calling her father-in-law during festivals, offering greetings and red envelopes. Consequently, her father-in-law was quite satisfied with Willow as his daughter-in-law. Initially intending to inquire indirectly about Liam's recent contact with his father, Willow was taken aback when her father-in-law answered, "Willow, I was just about to call you. Last week, Liam called to say he was taking a week off for a minor surgery. How's the recovery from the hemorrhoid surgery? I was planning to visit him in these 2 days, but I couldn't reach him by phone. Is his phone broken?" Willow, upon hearing this, was furious. Liam had hidden such a significant matter from her. It seemed he had no intention of continuing their married life. However, aware of propriety, Willow calmly replied over the phone, "Dad, Liam's surgery has been postponed. These days, the company is undergoing a closed training, and they've confiscated everyone's phones. No need to worry. I called to tell you that during the Chinese New Year, you mentioned your leg pain. I have a friend working at the hospital, and they've introduced a new physiotherapy program. I thought you could come and try it out. Once Liam finishes his busy days, we'll go back together to pick you up." After ending the call, Willow sat on the sofa in a daze. The intense hatred towards Liam nearly overflowed from her chest. She grabbed a small vase from the coffee table and hurled it towards the television. As her hand veered off course, the vase struck a small fish tank beside the TV. With a crash, the tank shattered, and several small goldfish lay gasping for air on the wet floor. Willow suddenly remembered that the fish belonged to her daughter, who was currently in her first year of private boarding school. She only returned home once a month. Before leaving, her daughter entrusted the fish to Willow, asking her to take good care of them. She wanted to see baby fish when she returned. Willow hurriedly approached, picking up the struggling small fish from the floor and placing them in a bowl. In the process, a glass shard punctured her finger, and a drop of blood emerged. Willow sucked the blood into her mouth, tasting its saltiness. Holding the bowl, tears fell into it as the surviving fish swam happily. To Willow, it felt like she and Liam were 2 fish, the fish tank still intact but devoid of water. 8 years ago, on a day she recalls vividly, her car was in the shop for repairs after a rear-end collision, and she needed to use Liam's car. Liam owned an SUV, which Willow seldom drove. This time, out of urgency, she braved driving it. However, she stumbled upon Liam's secret hidden in the car, a memory that still stung with humiliation. Due to dried bird droppings on the car window that the wipers couldn't remove, Willow searched the toolbox in the trunk for a cloth. In the toolbox, she found a bulging plastic bag. Opening it, she discovered several brightly colored lace bras. Initially thinking they were gifts from Liam, left in the trunk, a closer look revealed that all of them were D-cup bras, while Willow was a genuine A-cup. Willow was furious. Suppressing her anger, she drove straight to find Liam. After calming herself a bit, she refrained from dragging those bras to Liam's workplace. Instead, she called him, and when he got into the car, she threw the bras at his face, yelling, "Liam, you shameless man. Who's the big-breasted fox you found? Today, we'll both end it." As she cursed, she fiercely started the car. Liam, terrified, turned pale and said, "Willow, calm down. Stop the car first. I swear to the heavens I haven't done anything wrong. Believe me, there's no woman, no fox spirit." It turned out that Liam frequently browsed adult websites, developing an addiction to larger-sized bras, and he had been discreetly making online purchases. With both hands gripping his own hair tightly, Liam confessed, "Willow, every day at work, I'm pressured to achieve targets. I'm afraid that if I take a breather, I won't be able to muster the strength again. I'm like a zombie being driven by a whip. When I sit alone in the car, lighting up a cigarette, that's when I feel alive." Willow wanted to curse, thinking, damn it, I also have a job, I also face pressure. Should I also buy some adult toys? However, she refrained from uttering those words. Watching Liam, who was usually full of fighting spirit, crumbling like a defeated stray dog at that moment, she felt a momentary pang of pity. But scattered D-cup bras on the car seat pierced her eyes, and she sensed an unprecedented humiliation. She struggled to suppress the rising nausea. Willow's obsession with cleanliness stemmed from the bra incident. Initially, she had a penchant for hand washing. After washing her hands, if they touched anything, she felt the need to wash them again. She washed her hands dozens of times a day. The same meticulousness extended to kitchen utensils. She believed a single wash was never enough, repeating the process 4 or 5 times. Cleaned utensils couldn't be stored in the cabinet. They had to be placed on the stove, visible and reachable for Willow to feel at ease. Concerning the floor, Willow refused to use a mop, deeming it dirty. Instead, she knelt on the floor, painstakingly wiping it with a towel, ensuring not a single hair fell. She also prohibited Liam and their daughter from eating snacks at home, fearing crumbs would land on the floor. The refrigerator in their house remained empty, as Willow considered it a breeding ground for bacteria. This aversion to the refrigerator extended to her dietary choices. Willow turned vegetarian, avoiding meat due to its supposed odor. Liam and their daughter had to eat out whenever they craved meat. Even when driving her own car, Willow would repeatedly wipe the steering wheel with wet wipes. When shopping, she always carried wet wipes and promptly wiped the handles of her handbag. Regardless of the season, Willow took showers twice a day without fail. Liam wasn't allowed into bed without showering beforehand. After any intimate moments, Willow spent half an hour in the bathroom, and Liam also had to wash up. The crucial point was that, each time, Willow protected her chest with her hands, subconsciously feeling insecure about her flat chest. This action unintentionally made Liam feel ashamed of his past preferences. Initially, Liam endured it, but he soon found himself avoiding Willow. He worked extra hours, attended numerous social events, and eventually claimed that coming home late would disturb Willow's rest. He moved to the study, making it their living arrangement. Up to now, they have been living separately for 8 years. This quasi-widowed marriage left Willow in tears countless times at night. She desperately suppressed every physical desire, feeling like an executioner, castrating the lively and jumping desires, banishing them to the depths of hell. Willow once brought up the idea of divorce, but Liam brushed it off impatiently. He said, "I haven't cheated, I haven't been abusive, and I hand over my entire salary. What more do you want?" Willow retorted, "Every day, I'm as busy as a mule, exhausted like a dog. Inside and out, there's an endless amount of work, and there's no communication, no understanding between us. Is this life meaningful?" In reality, Willow wanted to express that she needed his care and attention, even a comforting word or a hug. However, Liam couldn't comprehend. He thought Willow was making unreasonable demands, stating, "You're busy, and I'm not at ease either. Isn't it all for the sake of this family? Isn't this how households live?" Willow investigated Liam but found nothing. Later, when Willow underwent a hysterectomy and was hospitalized, Liam dutifully cared for her. However, Willow felt a sense of despair. What she desired, Liam couldn't provide, or perhaps, he simply didn't want to. He was like a dry well, a glass tank without water. Willow thought, perhaps this is what marriage in middle age is like, a mess of trivialities that require meticulous effort to pick up each and every feather to make a feather duster. Combining new grievances and old resentments, Willow couldn't help but angrily curse, "Damn Liam, go to hell. I hope you can't get off the operating table." After cursing, Willow covered her mouth abruptly, recalling the time she underwent surgery, and Liam tirelessly cared for her. She couldn't help but regret her venomous curse. Just because of one fight, Liam could leave without regard for the bond of marriage. Could it be that Liam discovered her affair with Elijah? Despite the minor surgery, there was always someone by her side for care. Who could it be? With these thoughts, Willow felt restless for the next 3 days. After so many years of quarrels with Liam, to the point where they could hardly exchange more than 3 sentences a day, with 2 of them either arguments or judgments, Willow had never seriously considered divorce. Previous threats of divorce were merely expressions of frustration. Willow felt that although her marriage was like a paper house, unable to shield her from the wind and rain, at least in the eyes of others, she had a house. She didn't want to lose this paper house and expose herself to public scrutiny. Most importantly, for the sake of her daughter having a stable home, even though Liam rarely intervened in their daughter's life, whether in terms of work or studies, he spoiled their daughter to no end. As long as the daughter made a request, he would go to great lengths to fulfill it. Therefore, in their daughter's eyes, Liam was a good father. Liam's phone remained continuously switched off. According to what the father-in-law said, Liam took a week off for a minor surgery, and after that week, he should have returned to work. Willow, enduring until Monday, went straight to Liam's workplace early in the morning to confront him. However, despite waiting in her car for a long time, Liam did not appear. Willow couldn't believe that Liam would just disappear like that. She cursed in her heart, "Damn Liam, even if you're getting a divorce, you should still show your face. What kind of turtle act are you putting on?" At this point, she wasn't prepared to save face for Liam anymore. She decided to go straight into Liam's workplace to drag him out. In the elevator, Willow ran into a colleague of Liam's with whom he had a good relationship. This colleague had once escorted the drunk Liam home. Seeing Willow, he was surprised and said, "Hey, sister-in-law, I was just about to call you. Liam didn't come to work today. I tried calling him for a meeting, but his phone is off. How is he recovering from the surgery?" Willow, hearing this, felt a momentary shock. She silently cursed, "Shameless Liam, are you openly eloping with someone?" Quick on her feet, she told Liam's colleague, "Liam had a minor surgery, and we thought he'd be back to work today. Unexpectedly, there was an infection after the surgery, and the recovery isn't going as planned. So, I came to extend his sick leave." Willow extended Liam's sick leave for another week, swearing that she would dig 3 feet deep to unearth Liam in these 3 days. Willow has a habit of using exercise to vent her emotions. She habitually heads to the gym she frequents, fiercely attacking the treadmill, running with gasps, her oval face flushed, beads of sweat forming on her forehead. The tall and slender Willow, with a high ponytail, doesn't look a day over 38. Elijah, sweating profusely, runs up to Willow, taps on the treadmill, and softly calls out, "Sis?" Willow remains silent, relentlessly running on the treadmill without looking away. Elijah smiles, taps on the treadmill again, and says, "Sis, why so serious? What are you thinking? After a few days without seeing each other, I guessed you must be here. Sure enough, I found you as soon as I came. Know you well, don't I?" Willow stops, wipes away the sweat with a towel, takes a deep breath, and says with resentment, "Liam's phone has been off for a week, and he's not even going to work. I don't know which hospital he's in. Help me check." Elijah says, "Sure thing, as long as Sis is happy." Willow is rational and restrained, never deviating from the rules, and dislikes those who disrupt order. However, Elijah, in moments both expected and unexpected, accompanies her in ways she can and cannot imagine, without being oily or deliberate, yet irresistibly captivating like flames. In Willow's eyes, Elijah has many unique talents. For instance, he effortlessly weaves through traffic like a fish, without causing drivers to slam on their brakes. When they go to a small shop to eat buns, Elijah takes a bite and shouts at the owner that these are leftover fillings. The owner rushes over to offer them a free meal. When Willow asks how Elijah manages to do this, he says, "What's so difficult about it? It's intuition." Besides these, Elijah has an exceptional memory, remembering key lines from movies he has watched clearly. Elijah also likes to tell jokes. He once said, "A spotted toad lost its taste for tea and meals, not even bothering to catch mosquitoes." Other toads wanted to know what happened to it. The elder toad suggested catching a swan would be good, as the spotted toad must want to eat swan meat. Willow giggles, laughing heartily for the first time in a long while. She hadn't encountered such a sunny and slightly roguelike man before. Liam, who used to compliment her figure during their dating days, praising her slender and tall stature, now secretly likes large bosoms. Elijah, at 32, 6 years younger than Willow, single, runs a private detective agency and also engages in debt collection. Willow got to know Elijah when, in disbelief of Liam's explanation after discovering his fetish for large cup bras, she hired a private detective agency to investigate Liam. She found Elijah's small company, but Elijah couldn't find anything on Liam except for his online shopping for large cup bras. 2 years ago, when Willow was considering divorce and feeling emotionally and physically strained, she started exercising at a fitness club. There, she met Elijah, who happened to be a regular at the same gym. Elijah, with experience in fitness, took on the role of Willow's trainer. Elijah likes Willow, saying she is his type. He admires the intellect and stability in Willow, hidden beneath which are elements of recklessness and rebellion. Listening to Willow curse Liam, Elijah says, "Damn, during our dating days, he praised my figure. I was tall and slender. Now, he secretly likes big breasts. The weight of marital love can't match the allure of a big bust." Elijah always calls Willow sis and says, "Sis, he likes bras." Willow retorts, "Even bras won't do. His fantasies with bras are the biggest insult to me." Willow is frustrated with Liam's behavior, and Elijah has become her outlet for venting. It seems that neither of them made a move, they just slept together like that. Willow needed a young and passionate body to prove that she was still alive and still desirable. At that moment, tears rolled down Willow's cheeks. Elijah kissed her tears away with his mouth and asked, "Is this your first affair?" Willow replied, "1 time or 100 times, it doesn't make much difference." Elijah chuckled and asked again, "Do you feel guilty towards him?" Willow said, "I only feel the pleasure of revenge." During one of their intimate encounters, Elijah asked, "Why don't you leave him?" Willow replied, "I've devoted the first half of my life to him. If I hand him over to someone else, wouldn't I be at a loss?" Elijah said, "No loss, I'll take over." Willow gave Elijah a disdainful look and said, "Don't play this game with me. You've been taking advantage of me for over a year. In the end, it makes me feel like I've let you down. We're both willing participants, with no debts owed to each other. Besides, we're not suitable for each other." Elijah wasn't pleased, he leaned on top of Willow, stopped moving, and asked, "Are you suited to him?" Willow replied, "Suitable or not, it's already like this. Let it be." Elijah rolled off, lit a cigarette, and said, "Are we going to let it be like this for a lifetime?" Willow sighed and said, "Do you think a lifetime is very long? It passes in the blink of an eye." Elijah felt a sense of defeat and suddenly found himself quite dull. Elijah had no shortage of women, but in Willow's seemingly fragile appearance, he discovered a sharpness and sarcasm that added a unique charm. Willow might appear strong on the surface, but in reality, she was exhausted from enduring it all. Willow and Liam were college classmates. Liam was thin, tall, and reserved, always sitting in the front row, the type of person teachers liked, good grades and obedient. Willow, on the other hand, was lively and full of energy. She was curious about the reserved Liam, wondering how a guy could be so silent, like a puzzle. So, she intentionally or unintentionally approached Liam. After getting to know Liam and learning about his early loss of his mother, Willow felt sympathy for him. Her nurturing maternal instincts kicked in, and she took good care of Liam. Over time, they became a couple. The first few years of marriage were blissful, but as Liam got promoted, his work became increasingly demanding. Willow was also ambitious in her career, managing the household and taking care of their daughter. Both were busy, and communication dwindled. The discovery of Liam's fetish for large cup bras created a rift in Willow's heart, leading to their separation for 8 years. Later, when she got together with Elijah, not a day went by without guilt and anxiety. She worried that her relationship with Elijah would become the final straw that crushed her and Liam's marriage. However, once certain things start, they are like a rolling stone, unstoppable. 3 days later, when Willow met Elijah, the news she received was that Elijah had searched all the hospitals in the city, and it turned out that Liam had never been admitted to any of them. It had been the 10th day since Liam's phone had been unreachable, meaning he had been missing for 10 days. The term missing triggered an ominous feeling in Willow. She arranged to meet Elijah, who arrived in his black Mercedes. Willow sat in the passenger seat and asked Elijah, "It's been 10 days since he went missing. Could something have happened?" Elijah replied, "For a grown man, what could happen? He wouldn't really have eloped with someone, would he?" Willow said, "Impossible. Even if he wants a divorce, he wouldn't give up his job and even disown his father. Would he?" Elijah suggested, maybe he's afraid you'll cling to him if he suggests a divorce. Trying to scare you, don't you think? Look at you, you even have dark circles. Didn't sleep well again? Is the cat downstairs still meowing? Willow pressed her temples with her hand, realizing that the downstairs cat hadn't meowed for several days. Halfway through, Elijah's car broke down. While he was busy making a rescue call, he asked Willow to go to the trunk and get the warning triangle to place it behind the car. Willow opened the trunk, found the warning triangle, and suddenly noticed a red drop on it, like paint. This red drop wasn't very noticeable on the red warning triangle. Willow, feeling a strange impulse, used her nails to scratch it off, realizing that it wasn't as sticky as paint. She picked it off, breaking it into pieces like dried blood. Willow's heart tightened, and discreetly, she tucked the scraped fragments into her pocket. Willow asked a friend at the hospital to help identify the blood drop. The result was shocking, it was cat blood. It turned out that Elijah, seeing Willow distressed due to the two cats, her restless sleep, and conflicts with her husband, decided to help. Elijah, who hadn't finished high school before venturing into the world, was adept at handling social interactions. He straddled both sides of the law, excelling in both white-collar and street-smart skills. He learned lock-picking skills earlier, engaging in various petty crimes. Once, he offended two colleagues and was pursued for a beating. A big brother saved him, and Elijah joined forces with this big brother. Later, the big brother was killed due to business disputes, and Elijah, who had spent some time in jail for brawling, sought a new path. Leveraging his sharp mind, he started a private detective agency, also specializing in debt collection, using a group of burly men. His prowess in debt collection overshadowed his detective business. Elijah used his lock-picking skills to open the door of Willow's downstairs neighbor, skillfully took out the two cats, killed them, and placed the dead cats in the trunk. Then, he disposed of them in a remote area. Willow listened, her heart pounding. She told Elijah, "You can't act recklessly. The downstairs neighbor adores those cats. Losing two of them might make him furious." Elijah dismissed her concerns, saying, "Just two cats. With my discreet skills, no one can stir up trouble." Willow said, "With your skills, find Liam for me quickly." Elijah replied, "My company handles debt collection, not detective work. Besides, even if I wanted to find him, your peace of mind is now saved that he's missing. He's the kind of person who threatens others today and tomorrow. Who knows what he might do? Now that he's missing, you can relax." Willow was not pleased. She said, "Elijah, what are you saying? Our matters are between me and him. What's it got to do with you?" After saying this, she realized and asked Elijah, "What threats? Who did he threaten?" "Elijah, it couldn't be you who made him disappear, could it?" Elijah said, "Sis, him telling you to take care of yourself is a threat, isn't it? Do you suspect me? If it were me, you should be thanking me." Willow fell silent, but her anxiety grew. On the 15th day of Liam's disappearance, Willow reported to the police. The case was not complicated. Liam used to visit a nightclub and seek a woman named Hazel. Hazel was the top performer in the nightclub, known for her ample bosom and slender waist. Seeing Liam's bookish appearance and wealth, Hazel became greedy, thinking that she could exploit Liam for his money, fearing damage to his reputation. So, when Liam approached her, she arranged to meet him by the riverbank outside the city. During their intimate encounter, a bald man suddenly appeared, shouting about daring to bully his wife. He covered Liam's mouth and dragged him into the woods. The bald man initially intended to scare Liam into handing over his bank card. However, Liam, desperate for money, loudly called for help and tried to pull out his phone to call the police. The burly bald man, feeling nervous, ruthlessly choked Liam's neck and ultimately strangled him. Later, the bald man disposed of the body, and Liam disappeared. Liam's workplace sent over his personal belongings, including a diary. When Liam was 5 years old, his mother suddenly passed away. Young Liam suppressed the grief and fear of losing his mother deep within him while simultaneously craving maternal love. In the neighborhood lived a woman, colloquially referred to as Auntie 3. At that time, she was in her 20s and had a 1-year-old child. Auntie 3 often sunbathed with her child at the doorstep. When the child was hungry, she would lift her clothes to breastfeed. Auntie 3 was tall and thin, but her breasts were unusually large, full, resembling 2 steamed buns. 5-year-old Liam envied Auntie 3's child, who could be cradled in her arms every day. Consequently, Liam often sneaked glances at Auntie 3 breastfeeding. Once, young Liam, feeling mischievous, ran up to Auntie 3 and pinched her breasts abruptly. At that moment, Auntie 3 was both startled and in pain, letting out a loud cry that scared her child, who began crying loudly. Seeing this, Liam, frightened, scampered away while holding his head. Later, Auntie 3 complained to Liam's father, who, feeling both embarrassed and annoyed, used a chicken feather duster to lash out at Liam, leaving him with welts and open wounds. Childhood memories, etched into Liam's mind, became a latent influence. Later, he became entangled in adult content websites, activating a deep-seated impulse that led to an infatuation with ample bosoms. This infatuation persisted, culminating in the online purchase of a large cup bra, a discovery eventually made by Willow. In the subsequent 8 years of living apart from Willow, Liam further immersed himself in seeking the company of women with well-endowed chests in nightclubs. This ultimately resulted in a tragic fate, leading to his untimely demise. Willow held Liam's diary, her eyes like a dried-up well, devoid of a single tear. In her mind, she envisioned the days when she and Liam were college sweethearts, sharing a roasted sweet potato. After finishing her own half, Willow would reach over to snatch Liam's portion. Seeing Willow enjoy the treat, Liam, reluctant to eat his reserved half, would hoist the sweet potato high, teasing her, "I can't afford a wife who eats so much." Willow would swiftly grab the remaining portion, saying, "I'm full today, I can eat less in the future." They would laugh together. Now, Willow covered her face, tears streaming uncontrollably. Her trembling shoulders resembled leaves in a storm, and her throat emitted incessant sobs, a howl reminiscent of a lone wolf mourning its lost cub, piercing through the air. Within 2 days, Elijah was also arrested. Liam had been aware of Willow's involvement with Elijah. Unwilling to divorce Willow, he had threatened Elijah. Elijah, resentful, discovered the nightclub Liam frequented, found Hazel, and disclosed Liam's substantial wealth and underlying cowardice. He encouraged Hazel to extort money from Liam, promising Elijah would ask for nothing, and provided Hazel with a considerable hush money. Upon receiving this news, Willow collapsed on the ground, overwhelmed with resentment, guilt, regret, emptiness. She observed the relentless cycle of karma in this world, feeling the insignificance of her own existence, exposed and defenseless against the horrifying twists of fate. Her mind, like thick porridge, sealed off from the outside, gradually emptied. She lay motionless, transformed into a solitary and mournful statue.